Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video, I don't know if I have a banger plan for you guys or not, but we're going to be jumping back into the BT6 map editor. So for this BT6 map editor video, I was debating on what I wanted to do. And I think I have a really cool map design in my head, but I don't know if it's going to look good until we actually get the basic layer of the map set up. So what I was thinking about doing is I was thinking about making a cave system. So with the cave system, I want there to be an outside area as well as I want there to be an inside area. So I want to make a giant mountain, and I want the balloons to enter in down here in the bottom left and then go through this giant cave system and then exit over here in the bottom right. And then maybe I'll add another exit somewhere else just to mix things up a little bit. And I think that would be such a really cool design. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and get the bread and butter of the map set up. So obviously at the inside of the cave isn't going to be the same as the outside, so let's go ahead and get a basic layer for the area setup. All right, and I think that looks pretty cool for the base layer. Now we need to go ahead and add rocks around this entire thing. Then after we add all of the rocks, that's when we can start getting really into what the inside of our cave is going to look like. Now for the rocks, I think I want to go with this style of rock, but the only thing is I don't want the rock to be too big, because if the rock's too big, then it's going to look a little bit weird, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll add this style of rock. Now one thing we need to be really careful of is that we don't use too many of the same rock. Because if we use the same rock a little bit too much, then it's going to look a little bit weird, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll spread out this style of rock around the outside, and then I think I'm gonna have to use this rock as well. All right, so we have the basic layer of the outside of the mountain. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and add another rock, and then with this rock we need to raise this rock up as far as we can get it, and then this is going to serve as the exit. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this right here like that, and then we need to go ahead and add some shadow really quick, because that way we don't forget where the exits of the map are. So we'll go ahead and we'll add a little bit of a shadow right here like that, and that should end up looking really cool. Yeah. All right, so now I want to go ahead and add another exit over here. But this seems a little bit too big, so let's go ahead and add ourselves another rock here, and then that should end up looking really cool. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll copy this one. We'll go ahead and not that, we need to rotate it a little bit, and then we need to raise it up, as well as we need to make it a little bit bigger. But with this, we need to go ahead and bring it this way just a touch, and then we'll go ahead and fix this later on. We'll add a couple more rocks to make it seem a little bit more like a mountain. But in order to remember the exit, let's go ahead and add ourselves a couple more shadows over here. And this is again just to make sure that we don't forget where the shadows of the inside of the cave are. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here, as well as over here. Now one thing I'm thinking about doing is that instead of having a dark shadow on the inside, what if we use this light shadow, kind of there's light coming in from the outside? I think that would actually look a little bit better, opposed to using the dark shadow, right? It'll look like there's a little bit of light coming on the inside of the cave, but I think the white might end up being a little bit too weird. Let me go ahead and fix it a little bit. Yeah, I think this looks a little bit better opposed to using shadow on the inside, because it really doesn't make too much sense to have the dark on the inside of the cave opposed to having the light on the inside of the cave. So unfortunately we don't have anything that looks real good for light coming from the outside, but I think this orange should get the picture across on what we're trying to go for, right? So now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a little bit of a cave system on the inside of the mountain. But the only thing I'm debating on doing is what kind of rocks do I want to use? Because originally I was just planning on making all of the rocks the same color, but I feel that would look a little bit weird. So I want to experiment a little bit with a different style of rocks to see which one would look the best. And honestly, after thinking about it a little bit, I think the best rock would have to be a mixture between the black one and this light gray rock, because the black one and this light gray rock, the black will add a little bit of contrast, and the light gray will make a little bit of a contrast in between the outside of the mountain and the inside. All right, so right now the only thing I'm doing is I'm messing around with a couple of indoor ideas, and I want to be able to place down a couple of water towers. So we'll go ahead and we'll place this indoor pond here. And this indoor pond will be able to help out with this cave entrance, as well as Well, actually just these two cave entrances. So we'll have like this cave entrance go along here. We'll have another one like come through and come like this. And then this is where I'm a little bit confused as to what I want to actually do, because I was thinking about like having like a different areas where like the balloons would go, and then that's like the area where you'd be able to like place down towers. So like the balloons would come in through here, they would like go around a corner, they would see like this is a dead end, and then at the dead end there would be a monkey there. So I think that would be a really cool idea, and that's what I want to kind of go for. But at the same time, like I'm having like a hard time with like how I want to like make the walls look. All right, I kind of like the way that this looks. Now the big issue I'm already gonna have is I don't think I'll be able to use like a normal pathway. I think I'll have to create my own. Like I was hoping I could get away with like using like this rock pattern, because this rock pattern looks really cool. The only problem is that we're gonna have overlapping sections. So with the overlapping sections, it's not gonna look the best, right? Another thing that we could always try to like make it like this dirt path, and then we'll make it a little bit smaller. I mean, that doesn't look bad, right? I would have to like mess around a little bit with the overlapping sections, but for the most part, that's not too bad, right? So now let me go ahead and edit this just a little bit to see if I can make it look a little bit better. All right, and you know what? That doesn't look too bad for the first attempt at our pathway. So now I need to go ahead and make it the second pathway. All right, so moment of truth. How is this gonna look? The balloons, I raised the rocks up, so we shouldn't have any clipping with like the rocks. So the balloons will come over here. Perfect. So that's actually way better than what I thought it would look like. All right, so the balloons will come down here. They'll do like a little loop over here, and then they'll go out through the top of the map. Yup, so this side of the map shouldn't be too hard, because if you go like a wizard monkey, it shouldn't be that bad, but this top part is going to be a little bit rough. Well, actually, no, the top part shouldn't be too bad at all, because it has like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 spots where you can like place down towers. So this spot down here is going to be really rough, but you're going to need to be really careful with like the towers that you choose to use, because you're going to have to split up your defense between 2 sides of the map. Now I said I was going to leave like enough room to like place down a bunch of towers on the outside, and I'm definitely going to do that, but I also want to make sure like someone can't get away with like using like a flying fortress or something like that. I think the most I want people to use is like a tack shooter, or not a tack, but a spike factory. All right, so now another thing I have to do, I have to fix this spot up here because it was looking a little bit weird. And then I also need to fix the bottom spot as well, because this is looking a little bit weird as well. I don't mind there being a little bit of a curve, but it just looked a little bit unnatural, right? We'll have like a little exit, like, or a little curve like this, and that should be fine. Okay. So now starts the fun part, because we need to turn these walls into like cave walls. On top of that, we also need to add a bunch of other detail as well. So all I'm doing right here now is I'm going through and I'm adding a little bit more substance to these walls, because the walls were looking a little bit like, well, I let them like that on purpose, but they were looking a little bit too clean. Because if you go into a cave, the walls aren't going to look exactly the same. So I add like a couple of black rocks to like make up for a little bit of the contrast that we need on the inside of the walls. On top of that, I'm also adding like these smaller rocks around the other rocks as well, just to like break up the sides of these props right here. Now on top of that, I also need to remember that I can't go too crazy with the props, because if I go too crazy with the props, then it's going to end up like messing up the sightlines a little bit more than I want them to be messed up. So that's looking pretty solid. I'm gonna go ahead and let me see here. So I need to find like spots that look a little bit weird. I want to have like a couple of jagged edges. On top of that, I also need to remember to like add a little bit more detail over here as well. And then I also need to go through and I need to check to make sure like I can fit the towers that I want to be able to like place in like certain spots around the map. So first thing, we can fit a village here, so that's perfect. Can we fit like another tower here? All right, so we can fit like up to a mid-sized tower here. Another thing, we can fit up to a large tower here. Then what about over on this side? Can we fit like our soda here? We can. Perfect. Now what else can we fit? We can also fit ourselves a dart monkey over here. I also want to take a look at the sniper monkey to make sure like there's no weird sight lines that you can like shoot through rocks with, right? So it looks like I'm gonna have to add in some like barriers on the inside of the cave. That way like towers can't shoot through the walls, because if the towers can shoot through the walls, then it'd be a little bit like pointless to even put the walls up in the first place, right? So let me go ahead and see. And yeah, so it's popping the balloons through the walls. So that's something that we're going to do at the very end. Then in the end, we'll go ahead and add like a bunch of barriers to go ahead and block out the sight lines, right? Because we don't want our towers to be able to shoot through walls, because then that would like completely defeat the purpose of like having this style of map. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and like raise some of these props up. That way the walls are a little bit taller, right? This is just to like break up the top of the walls, so we'll make like some of them bigger, we'll make some of them smaller, and this should help out a little bit with like the walls looking a little bit weird, right? I think that looks a lot better for like the walls. Like they're still not perfect, but they definitely look a lot better now, right? All right, so now we need to add a little bit more color inside of our cave, because right now it looks good, but it looks a little bit too plain, right? And also, I want to try out a different area for the background. Like, how would the dark area look? Like, would the dark area look good? No, it doesn't. The brown area definitely looks way better with this style of pathway, right? Now, another thing I want to do, it's time to start adding like a little bit of like rocks and stuff on the ground to make the ground like blend into the background a little bit more. Now, one thing I'm having issues with is I don't know what props I want to use for like the inside of the cave. Like, I definitely want to add a lot of color, because without the color, then the cave's just going to look a little bit wonky, right? So we'll go ahead and add a little bit of a color by using this platform right here. But we'll only use this platform in like certain spots. I think that should look pretty good. It's also going to block like the placement of a sub. It'll also end up blocking like the sub, so you can't place a sub like right on the start of this, right? Or right on the corner. And now the next thing, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the props, and then I'll like look through and I'll see like which ones belong inside of a cave. So what I'm doing right now is I'm adding mushrooms along the wall, but because I want to add like multiple styles of mushrooms, I'm like just randomly placing them in spots where I think I'd find like a mushroom, and I'm even like placing them in spots where I don't think I'd find a mushroom. And this is just again to add more color to this background. Like right now it's already starting to come to life a lot more, but we definitely need more color because it still looks a little bit too gray, and it still looks a little bit too plain. And if you guys have watched any of my other map creation videos, you guys already know, like, I do not like to have like plain simple maps, right? I like to have like a lot of color and a lot of substance to my map. All right, so for the first layer of mushrooms and greenery, I don't think it looks too bad right now. But now we need to start adding like a second layer of greenery to like the walls. So what we'll do to add a second layer of greenery, we'll go ahead and grab a copy of this shrub, and then we'll raise it up a little bit. And then we need to find out where the actual like how far we raised it. So we'll go ahead and we'll put one here, and we need to start adding these like shrubs to the walls. And this is to break up a lot of that like super grayness that we have along the walls. Because if we just leave the walls like this, it's gonna look a little bit weird. But if we add this greenery to the walls, it's actually gonna look so much better. But now I'm like looking at the map right now, and it looks like that's about as much of these shrubs as we can add. So we're gonna have to find something else to use as color in the background, because if we go too crazy with the shrubs, then it's going to look a little bit weird. So we need to find something else to add a little bit more color. And I think to add the color to the map, I'm going to be using this shrub right here. This shrub is a little bit darker than the shrub that we've been using, so we'll add like this like strategically around the map, just to add a little bit more contrast. Now we're not going to go crazy with this shrub like we did the other one. We just want to have a different style of shrub, right? Oh, right. I like that a lot. It's looking really, really cool, but we still don't have any bright colors in this cave, and that's what's like making me like not like the way that this map is looking right now. Like, I like it, but at the same time, I feel like we could do a little bit more. We need something that has a brighter color. And yeah, dude, I really like the way that looks. It's looking so good. Now I want to add flowers, but the only only reserve I'm having with the flowers is like, which one should I use? Like, I almost wonder if it would be a good idea to incorporate some of these leaves into like certain spots in the cave, but I just don't know if it would end up looking the best. I think what I want to do, I almost want to add like this style of tree, but I'll make it like really, really small. Dude, there's so many different things that we can do. This is why it's so hard to like make a cave style map, right? All right, so I added a little bit more color by adding these two bushes, and it ended up looking really, really good. The next thing, let's go ahead and add a little bit of detail to this pond by adding like a couple of these ripples. And then what else can we add? I think we can add like this, but at the same time, it doesn't make too much sense to have this inside of a cave. But actually, you know what? I think it does make sense. Like, the water ripple makes sense because you can have like water droplets dropping from the top of the cave. So I think that would actually add a lot of life to our pond, which is something that we're missing right now, right? There we go. That looks way better. Okay, so now another thing that we're gonna have to add is we're gonna have to add like fireflies around like all of these mushrooms, as well as we're gonna have to add this glowing effect underneath these mushrooms as well. All right, guys, and I'm looking at this map and there's nothing else that we can really add on the inside other than these like glowing effects. So let me go ahead and find like a good spot for these glowing effects underneath these mushrooms. All right, and then we'll also add these fireflies above the other mushrooms as well. All right, guys, I'm almost done adding these firefly effects around all of the mushrooms. And I had a little bit of an idea, but I don't know how it's gonna look. Let me see. So the idea that I had is, what if I take the pathway layers and I drop them below the actual like cave pathway itself? So yeah, dude, that looks way better. Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like this a lot more because it makes it seem a little bit more natural, right? But if I do this, I'm gonna have to add a little bit more greenery along like the edges of the rocks. Otherwise, it's gonna look a little bit weird, right? So what I've been doing to add like a little bit of greenery around the edges is I've been using this stamp here. So if I use this and I just like add these in like different spots around the map, it's gonna look so cool. It's gonna look way better than like having those or having that like brown trail on the inside of the cave, right? Dude, that instantly just like brought this map from 0 to 100 real quick, because by doing this, it like lifts that constraint of like not being able to like place stuff next to the pathway, right? And this looks way better. Yeah, that looks so cool. I don't like looking at it right now, I don't think there's anything else I want to add. Like, I know that I don't have any like props on the actual pathway itself, but I mean, if it's like a walking pathway where like people walk, usually it wouldn't have like a lot of like debris and rubble on it, which is why I decided to leave it like this, because I think that looks so cool. All right, now we need to start adding some detail in like the outside of the cave. So like I was saying, for the outside of the cave, we're going to be going a little bit crazy with the amount of props, because I want to make sure like people can't get away with like buying like a flying fortress, because if they could buy a flying fortress, then this map would be a little bit easier, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and get the outside of the cave set up here in just a second, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm done. All right, so I think that looks pretty good, right? Now we need to go ahead and finish up with adding some areas where we can't shoot through. All right, so let me go ahead and jump into sandbox mode to make sure like we can't shoot through the walls. So it looks like I can't shoot through the walls anymore. Let me go ahead and send a couple of balloons while having a sniper monkey right here. And then we'll also place like another sniper monkey over here. That way we can go ahead and test to make sure like we can't shoot through the walls. All right, so moment of truth, the sniper monkeys aren't shooting. Perfect. So now the sniper monkeys can shoot, and that's awesome. Actually, we have another little bit of a problem, because we need to extend this one a little bit more, because this one it can still shoot down the hallway a little bit. So we need to go ahead and fix that. All right, and that should about do it for that. Cool. All right, dudes, I really like the way that this map turned out. Now, I'm not going to be adding any like shade or anything like that on the inside of the cave, because we already had like a bunch of shade on the outside, and we don't want to make the inside of the cave any darker than it already is. So now that we pretty much completed the map, the next thing we have to do is, of course, save and exit our map, as well as we need to come up with a name for this map. Now, honestly, I have no idea what I want to name this map right now. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and play this map, and I'll go ahead and come up with a name while I'm beating this map on easy standard. Also, I'd really like to get your guys' opinion on what you guys think of this map. Like, do you guys think this is a beginner map, or do you guys think it's an intermediate map, or do you guys think it goes as far as like being like a advanced map or a expert map? But alright dudes, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward all the way up until around 40, and I'll see you guys here in a couple of rounds. Alright dudes, so here we are on round 39. So I'm so glad I added this water pool, because this map would be way harder if I didn't add this little water pool here. So I definitely think this map is beatable on Chimps, but it's definitely going to be a tough map to beat for sure. But alright dudes, so I was thinking about what I want to name this map, and I think I have a perfect name for this map. So the name I came up for this map is called Spelunking. So if you guys don't know what spelunking is, it's basically to like go into a cave and like explore a cave. So I thought this name served this map pretty well. So that being said, let's go ahead and share our map. So if you guys would like to play this map for yourself, here is the code. But anyways, dudes, that's gonna do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe as well, because I do upload daily BTD6 content. But anyways, dudes, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.